to share our schedule. We're going to discuss curricular information. We're going to explain our assessments and our grading. We're going to explain how you can support your child's learning at home. And we are going to discuss how to stay connected. So I'm Mrs. Dubon.
I'm Mrs. Boyles. I'm Shay Casper.
I'm Miss Hildebrandt.
I'm Ms. Baker.
I'm Miss Jeanette.
I'm Miss Roar.
I'm Mr. Wellington.
Miss Crothers.
And Ms. Reese.
All right, so this is our schedule for second grade. We start our mornings early at 7 a.m. and then students arrive through 7:30. After that, exactly at 7:30, we have our announcements and then we take attendance, do our morning meeting. And right after that, we go right into ELA, which is phonics, reading, writing, grammar, and small groups. And right after ELA, we'll do science and social studies lesson as well as start math. And then after that, we go to recess at 10:50 through 11:20. And then we go to lunch right after that, which is 11:20 to 11:56, depending on the different schedule you have for lunch. It's staggered, so each of us go a little bit after the other. But if you have any questions about your specific lunchtime, you can ask your homeroom teacher. And then after lunch, we go to math, which is around 11:50 to 1:15, and then specials from 1:15 to 2, and then at 2 we dismiss. And so you'll notice a lot of our academic-based instruction is in the morning time, starting at 7:45, going all the way through 10:50. So it's really important that our students are here, they're ready to learn, they're on time, and they're here and excited. All right, so we also do structured literacy, which is our phonics program. Phonics is the link between letters and the sounds and words. Our daily lessons consist of direct, explicit instruction on a specific skill with continuous blending and segmenting practice. So we do something called an I do, we do, you do, which is basically the teacher will do it first. They explain and give the students direction and explain how they are doing the specific skill, and then we will all do it together. And then after I do it, we do it together, they will do it by themselves independently. Students will have the opportunity to apply their new understanding of taught skills through spelling, handwriting, dictation, and reading decodable texts. The decodable texts allow the students to immediately apply their new phonics skills to text as they build automaticity and fluency. So our reading consists of many different topics that we'll go over during the year, and you'll notice that in the teacher's newsletters, it spirals throughout the year. So for instance, this week, we're circling back to central message and central idea, which we had done last week. We're touching on author's purpose. Some of the other things that we will touch on are asking and answering questions about what we read. This helps to build their comprehension skills. And for some readers, stopping every few pages will help them. Reading fluently is reading with expression at a good rate of speed and accurately. So this is something that we want to help them build and strengthen because it helps their comprehension and then also their engagement. Describing characters and how they respond to events and stories is something else that we cover in second grade. Retelling the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story. And then being able to take what they're reading, and it helps them to do constructive responses that are very important with regards to answering questions about the text. Comparing and contrasting similar stories. Identifying the main topic of a multi-purpose paragraph. And then knowing how to use various text features. So headings and tables and diagrams and photographs and captions and labels, and knowing why all of those things are important to our text.
Okay, grammar. These are the different skills that we will address throughout the school year. Nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. We will continue to do it and spiral back and review them again. This will help with their reading and their writing, and it will be incorporated in both of those subjects. We'll work on proper nouns, pronouns, using apostrophes to form contractions, and produce, expand, and rearrange sentences, which is what we are focusing on right now, compound sentences and simple sentences. Starting with a capital letter, ending with punctuation, and we will continue that throughout the year. Oh, sorry, I didn't touch the screen.
Next, talking about math, we use HOH, which this is our third year using it. They all receive a workbook that we use in class. Same structure as structured literacy, we do I do, where the teacher will teach it whole group, excuse me, and then we will do it together as a class. They'll bring their workbooks to the carpet or have them at their desk, and then we will send them off and they will do what we just learned, whatever topic we're talking about. They will do that at their desk and practice the work. So we also are using manipulatives that we use in the classroom that will help them strengthen their skill. After we do the I do, we do, you do, we'll also pull students, sorry, my voice. We'll also pull students into small groups so that we can deepen, if they're struggling with anything, we can help them work on that. Let's see, we just finished our first module. We were working on 2-digit addition and subtraction, and now we are on module 4. You will notice we kind of skip around in our modules. So right now we're at module 1, but now we're doing module 4. That's place value. So also with the homework, they have a homework book that they take home. You have to be careful about the page numbers because we want them to work on the homework that goes with that specific skill we're working on. So we started with page 1 through 7, but now if you saw, we're on page, I think, 35. Yes, so just be careful. I know we all put the page numbers in our weekly newsletters, but you just have to make sure that they're kind of working on that because we don't want them doing something that they haven't learned yet and then struggling with that and they don't understand. Also, if you're trying to help them with their homework and you're not understanding what it's asking, you can always circle the problem, and in the morning, if the kid wants to, ask us a question about it or you're not sure, you can always also shoot us a message and be like, hey, how is it asking you to solve this? Because I know it's a little bit, there's a bunch of different strategies we're teaching them, and it might not always make sense to someone just opening a book and, seeing the problem. But also, the homework is very important, so just be, cautious of those page numbers. So talking about our different topics, we just did 2-digit addition and subtraction. We're on place value. We also talk about 3-digit addition and subtraction, and then understanding measurement, length, and time. We do word problems, understanding plain and solid figures, so shapes also, and then multiplication we get to towards the end, and then representing and interpreting data, so being able to look at a graph and understand how to interpret that.
In writing, we go through the writing process of brainstorming, pre-writing, drafting from our story plan, revising and editing, and then publishing. And then by the end of that piece, they share it with their friends. And some of the topics we'll practice writing this year are personal narrative, informational like how-to books, persuading somebody or giving your opinion, imaginative story, poetry, and a research report. Right now, we're finishing up personal narratives this week or maybe next week, depending on how long it takes them. Really want to give them a chance to get all their ideas out on paper instead of rushing them through the writing process. But this is kind of what their story plan looks like right now for writing. We use those grammar conventions throughout it as well.
So social studies and science, we have a cool opportunity to kind of blend these topics into our ELA, whether that's through a writing prompt or some sort of read aloud book. So some of the topics we might cover are historical Georgian figures, Creek and Cherokee Native Americans, Georgia regions and major rivers, opportunity costs, there are scarcity and economic choices, goods and services, and then saving and spending choices. And then our science topics, we'll talk about patterns in day and night, forces at work, matter and how it changes, and then plants and animals, so we'll talk a little about their life cycles. This week they actually are talking about moon phases in STEAM, which is another one of our standards that
relates to science, so we have a lot of cool opportunities to kind of do our social studies and science in various different ways.
All right, assessments, our favorite. We test a lot. You probably have heard of these before, but we do DIBELS and MAP testing in second grade. So we do both of these at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of the year. And we like to just see how they grew from the beginning to the end of the year. So DIBELS is an assessment. It assesses different skills for reading, such as like sounds recognition, letter recognition, decoding words, phonemic awareness, accuracy, fluency, and comprehension. There's lots of subtests to that. And then if you hear a teacher say, oh, he was red in DIBELS or yellow, that's all the tests kind of combined to give one score. But we do look at the individual ones too. So, and we use that to set their reading goals and kind of see how we can help each child individually grow their reading skills. MAP testing is a measure of academic progress. It also is given 3 times a year. We take reading and math in second grade. In second grade, they do not get it read aloud to them. So in first grade, they have it read aloud to them. Second grade, they have to read it all by themselves. So their score is going to look very different, especially if they have trouble reading. So it gives us an accurate view of how much they have grown throughout the year, especially. And we plan instruction and group them based on their specific needs. So we already gave both of these tests. We have finished those now, so you should be getting probably a printout of their scores, hopefully coming soon. And then we'll give it again probably November, December, and then again in April. It is given on the computer. So it's very long. They're like 40-something questions. It is long and boring, but we try to encourage them just to take their time and do their very best, because we do use it to help cater to their needs and help them the best we can. Another, some reminders for success in second grade is just to be at school every day. It matters. When they miss one day, they miss a lot of instruction, because we do a lot every single day. Tardies, being on time matters too. As you saw our schedule, we do a lot in the mornings. So if they are an hour late, they've missed a lot of phonics and reading already, which is very important. Sleeping, a lot of our friends are coming to school and sleeping in the mornings. And again, they're missing lots of instruction. So going to bed on time and not staying up on their tablets or playing video games late is very important, so that they're ready to learn. Also, just a quick reminder about snacks. We only allow water at school in their water bottles. No like red dyes, Kool-Aid, sugary drinks. Also, for snacks, healthy snacks are encouraged. No sticky or spicy, like Takis or, like things that make your fingers orange and red. Those aren't healthy or good. Also, we have some friends bringing like whole bags of gummy bears for snacks. That's not good either. So we just want to remind you, healthy snacks only for students.
Going along with the assessments Ms. Castor talked about, we have standards-based grading. So this is the printout of their progress report we do per trimester, and they're matched with some letters. They used to be numbers, but now we have a letter system. And this is seen in the back cover of your child's red folder they take home. I'm sending mine home with the first assessment going back. But at the top of their assessments, you'll see one of these letters, and you can turn to the back of their folder and see that ND means they're not able to complete that skill even with the teacher's support. EM, they're in the beginning stages of learning that skill, but they're still not able to do it without the teacher's support. DV, they're developing it, but it's not always consistent. They're still needing some support. If they're DM, they're demonstrating with consistency and accuracy. And EX is they're performing above the expected second grade standard. So you'll see per trimester, some are grayed out because they're not assessed till the second or third trimester. But in reading, they're assessed every standard, every trimester since we're spiraling. So you'll see a lot of DBs, they're still developing it, but we hope by the end of the year, they'll have some DMs, they're doing it with consistency and accuracy. But if you are seeing the EM or MD, your teacher should be reaching out to you to let you know what can be done in school or at home, or what tools we can do to get them up to a DB or DM.
Just talking about some ways to continue learning at home. Each child should be reading 20 minutes, if not more, at home every night. Each class goes to the library once a week, so every child will have the opportunity to get books and then bring them home. We encourage them to keep them in their backpacks, bring them out while they're at home. And also, I know a week is a long time, if your child's reading 20 minutes, they're like, I'm done with my book. In the mornings, I always give, and I know other teachers give time for them to go to the library so that they can return their books and then get new ones so they can continue reading new books at home as well if they don't get the opportunity to, go every week, like they need a new book. And then just asking questions about what your kids are reading. I know I talked about this a lot last year, but reading comprehension is something that we're working on a lot in the classroom, not only just reading, but understanding what you're reading so that you're able to answer those questions on things like the math assessments or our module assessments. So even if you just, research the book and then you look up like comprehension questions about and then put the book in parentheses, you can bring up questions that you can then ask about what your child is learning. And then if you want to go even further, you can look up the skills that we're learning for that week and, ask them questions about those skills. This is a little picture about how reading 20 minutes a day can affect your child. So there's student A, B, and C. The student A is reading 20 minutes a day at home, B is 5 minutes, and then C is 1 minute. And you can see how many words they'll hear per year. For the 20-minute student, it's 1,800,000 words per year. Student B, 5 minutes, 282,000 words per year. And then student C, only 8,000 words per year. And then it also goes into how much they have read, how many hours they've read for by 6th grade. So student A, 851, B, 212, and then C, 42. But this is a big kind of like eye-opener to, it was to me when I saw this. Student A, if you're reading 20 minutes at home, you increase your likelihood of scoring 90% above other students in your grade level. And then B, 5 minutes is only likely to score better than 50% of your peers, and then C, only better than 10% of your peers. So it kind of just gives you an overview of how important reading is for your child to be doing every day at home. And I know a lot of our friends were working on those comprehension skills, so it's super, super important for your child to be reading every day at home. And like I said, bring your books in, we can get you new books in the morning. With math, like I was talking about earlier, our math facts and homework pages go home in our weekly newsletter every week. Just be careful about those page numbers and make sure you're paying attention to the newsletter and what pages they should be completing. Like I said, if you have questions or they have questions, you can circle them. We'll go over them in the morning. As well, going over the work with your child, like I said, at home. Sometimes they're just answering it quickly, putting down numbers, saying, Mom, Dad, I did my homework. Going over it is really important to hone in those skills and reinforce them and what they are learning. I also forgot to mention with math, we do CGI problems every day as our warm-up, as our math section, and those spiral through as well. So it's not like, math is different. We don't spiral through while we're teaching it, but we do spiral through with our CGI problems, and we'll practice different skills going through the entire year. But yeah. Sorry.
download the app, you can reach out to your homeroom teacher for that. So yeah. I also have papers that you can get at the front over there.
And then parent portal. If you don't have an account in parent portal, it's really important, you want to make sure that you sign up for that. You can go to the Barrow County website and click on the parent portal icon that looks like this. And then it'll bring you up to all the steps that you'll need. So if you don't, you'll need your student ID number. So if you don't have your student ID number, please reach out to the teacher and we can provide that for you. You'll also need their social security number and then their date of birth. And then once you put in that information, it'll just take you through a series of prompts and you just continue to go forward following those to where you'll be able to get logged in. So why is Parent Portal important? Because it's kind of the hub that holds all the things. You'll be able to see their progress reports in there. You'll be able to check their attendance, bus routes, and then also you will be able to change any contact information. So that's really important too. Sometimes phone numbers change and the school has not been made aware, so it's really important that we have that updated contact information if we were to need to, get in touch with you during the day for any reason. You can make those changes in there. Does anybody have any questions?
I'm pretty sure we went over this, but the gradings, is it going to be the same exact format at the parent portal, what we can see? Because I know elementary school is a little bit different than middle school.
Well, with elementary school, I know with middle and high school, there is a continuous process of the teachers entering their grades. Yes, with the elementary school, at least for, I don't know, is it for 4th and 5th grade, are you able to go in frequently and see those grades? Do you know?
I'm not sure, I just know that we put them in just like whenever you guys do like progress report.
Okay.
And so it's.
So yeah, so for, at least for K2 that I'm aware of, we enter those in closer to the end of the trimester.
Already?
So once that window opens, those days become available, and we usually send you out a message to let you know, okay, progress reports are available, then you can log in and you'll be able to see it there. But it is different from the middle school where the teachers are constantly entering the stuff and you get the little notifications.
Right, it's just like the way I was looking at it is like then I can actually act on it right then, try to fix that, what happened, where
Yeah, I hear you with that. That's just also just paying attention and also being mindful of the work that's coming home as well. And also, as Ms. Hildebrandt said, that if your student is receiving an ND or an EM, that teacher will probably be touching base with you beforehand as well to make you aware of that. Any other questions? Well, if you don't have any other questions, we really thank you for your time and joining us today and those that are tuning in. And I forgot to also mention that if we have any people tuning in virtually that need a Spanish form of this, you can go ahead and click that QR code there, and that will be, the presentation will be delivered to you in Spanish as well. So thank you.